right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lions Den CCBC Dundalk Lions men's basketball action. This is game 2 of our doubleheader. The first game was a very exciting one, but the one game that you guys are all looking forward to is finally here upon us. The CCBC Dundalk Lions taking on the Richard Bland Statesmen. Should be an exciting game, right?
It should definitely be an exciting game. It's early in the season, but Richard Bland coach Chuck Moore said every time they play Dundalk, whether they're playing here or they're playing at Richard Bland, it's always a competitive game. So that's what we'll look for.
And a competitive game is what everybody here in the Lions Den is hoping for. Our first game, which is between the ASA Avengers and, excuse me, drawing a blank, the Bryant Stratton Bobcats. That was a very competitive game. Came down to the wire. Hopefully, second game of our doubleheader is the same.
Yeah, I think the thing at this point in the season, with both teams having only played one game, they're still trying to figure out what their lineups are like, what their rotation is like, and we'll wait for the PA announcer to finish.
2017 CCBC Dundalk men's basketball mixer. Today's game features Statesmen from Richard Bland College versus your CCBC Dundalk Lions. At this time, I would like to introduce the visitors from Williamsburg, Virginia, the Richard Bland Statesmen. Starting at guard, number 0, Tim A. Jr. Starting at guard, number 2, Ricky Hicks. Starting at guard, number 4, Robert Smith. Starting at forward, number 5, Stanley Taylor. And starting at guard, number 12, Mr. Chuck Moore, the head coach for the Statesmen, assistant coach Preston Beverly, and Brandon Henry. And now, ladies and gentlemen, starting lineup for your CCBC Dundalk Lions. Starting with guard, sophomore, number 2, Desmond Mosley. Starting in guard, freshman, number 3, Nicholas Curtis. Starting in guard, sophomore, number 15, Gianna Holland. Starting in forward, freshman, number 20, Christopher Fitzgerald. And finishing up the starting lineup, forward, sophomore, number 23, Harvey Page. Head coach of the Lions, Jeremy Taylor, assistant coach, scorer, Rodney Harrison, Darrell Perry, and Lynn Smack. Ladies and gentlemen, after your starting lineup, sit back and enjoy the game.
All right, you have met the starting lineups. What stands out to you in those starting lineups?
Well, I think the Richard Bland coach Chuck Moore said that he's kind of shorthanded today. He's got 3 post players out, and he's still trying to find what his lineups are. Jerron Taylor told us before the game what he wants to do is to run and get into transition, and he wants to make sure that Christopher Fitzgerald and Harvey Page control the paint. So we'll see what happens as the game progresses.
That's kind of the staple for this Lions team pretty much the entire time Jerron Taylor has been the head coach. They have been a transition, get out and run team.
And we obviously had a violation. And number 12, Mio Dronjak, took a free throw before the game and missed.
Anytime you get a chance to get out with some free points, you want to take advantage of that. Violation will come back to hurt the Lions. Let's get ready for tip-off. Fitzgerald does not win the tip for the Lions. But I can't really say the Statesmen won the tip either, because we got a game of hot potato right now.
Number 3, Nicholas Parrish is first, team's first.
7 seconds into the game, we have our first foul committed. Parrish for the Lions. I'll tell you something that stands out to me from this Lions team. Not a lot of sophomores on this team. You know, you play at this level, you know you're going to turn over most of your team every year, but you'd like to have a couple more sophomores than they have this year. This is a freshman-heavy team for the Lions.
And the question always is, how quickly do they grow and what happens with grades?
In the early part of the season is when you're going to find out a lot about some of these incoming freshmen, and right there, a nice play on the offensive glass for the Statesmen to get the first 2 points of the game. Fitzgerald flashing up at the top of the key. Here's Muhammad. Dribble handoff. Parrish going right at his defender. Handoff to Mosley. Mosley. Got to get a shot off, and they don't.
And again, I think that's early season jitters, that they just don't know each other well enough. And again, you're talking about the freshmen. That may be part of the reason that they are not aware of what the shot clock is.
Yeah, you see a lot of times with young teams, you get out of the gate, tend to be a little pass happy. Nobody wants to be the guy to take the first shot and miss. Maybe that's what happened on that possession. Statesman working the ball around. Not a lot of movement away from the ball. Trying to go down low. Swatted away by Muhammad. And a turnover by the Statesmen. Bad pass on that near sideline leads to a turnover. Let's see if the Lions can tie it up or take the lead here on their second possession of the game. Nicholas Parrish takes the pick from Fitzgerald, or does he? Loses his footing, ball's on the ground, but last touch by the Statesmen. Sloppy offense to start the game here for the Lions.
From both teams, actually.
That is very true. Remember, the Statesmen had a turnover on their last possession. Here comes Parrish. Hand off to Muhammad. Hands off to Mosley, who hands it right back off.
Tough shot.
Statesmen in transition. They had numbers for a moment. Open three from the baseline. No good off the end of the iron. Parrish picks it up and over to Fitzgerald on the far sideline. And some pushing and shoving away from the ball. Who will it go down against?
I don't think we know yet.
A little bit of conversation from the ref, and now we get the call, and it'll go against the Statesmen. So with 20 seconds on the shot clock, the Lions. Another opportunity on the inbounds here. Mosley will take it. Fitzgerald, nice jab step. Didn't get him any space, though. Mosley, jumper is good.
At some point, Dundalk's going to have to move from playing just simply around the perimeter and try and get the ball inside.
That's a really good point you make there. The Knights in their first two possessions, no intention whatsoever to get the ball into the middle. Fitzgerald, the three, good!
Big man from the outside.
Fitzgerald maybe celebrated that three-pointer a little bit too much. He should have clogged the lane getting back in, and he allowed the Statesmen to get an easy basket in transition.
I was just about to say, very sloppy defensive transition. Over and back violation.
You got to like the hustle from the Statesmen there, but an ill-advised pass to throw it back onto the other side. Learning experience in the early part of this season there, for sure. Mosley right in front of the bench for the Statesmen, goes down low to Page, back out to Mosley. Mosley for three, no good off the end of the iron, but rebounded by the Lions. Back out. Good attempted interception there by the Statesmen.
And as we talked about earlier on that possession, they went in and out and got an open look.
Yeah, good look there by Mosley. Sometimes they just don't fall. Harvey Page outside to Nicholas Parrish. Page flashing on the bottom post, wants it, doesn't get it. Parrish, dribble handoff to Muhammad. Bad dribbles there, lost control of it, but does get it back. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Page, a nice spin move into the lane. Oh, nice move there. Harvey Page with the spin move into the painted area, buries it for 2 points. "15 seconds on the shot clock. Statesman, baseline, and the glass is open that time. Nice move along the baseline for the Statesman there for 2 points.
Once again, Dundalk making an effort to get the ball inside.
For a forward, Harvey Page is really about as undersized as it gets, only standing at 6'2", but he is doesn't look like a 6'2" guy out there. Plays much bigger and much stronger as well. Page took a dive on the deck there.
Foul number 3 for Patterson is first, team third.
15 minutes and some change left in this first half. Score still remains 7-6, but for how much longer as the Statesmen pick it off? In transition, the Euro step is no good, but the one touch on the offensive rebound cleans it up. 8-7 now is the score. Statesmen in the lead after that nice offensive possession. Here's Mosley, takes the pick from Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald's open in the corner. Mosley doesn't see him. And that could have gone back to hurt him, though. Mosley was dangerously close to getting himself a charge, but the feet were moving, and also I believe he was in the restricted area. So really, after you said a couple minutes ago that the Knights are going to need to start pushing the ball into the middle, it seems like they've taken your advice.
Not that they heard me, but yes, they have taken that advice.
It's always a lot easier to score when the ball, or excuse me, when the game is stopped and you get that free play at the foul line. 2 early foul shots from Mosley, 2 easy points for him. That's now 4 points in the game from number 2. Good defensive play there by Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald was really the last line of defense there. If he wouldn't have made that play, could have had an easy corner 3 for the Statesmen.
Lamar Mitchell for Dundalk, Ryan Jones for Richard Bland.
Down low, baseline jumpers, good. Nice move there from Trey Patterson. Rise up above the defender. Patterson with the steal in transition. Can he bang it home? He can! Oh my! And Trey Patterson is looking through Devin Mosley after that steal and flush in transition. Patterson, the 6'3" guard. And the Statesman head coach, Chuck Moore, giving out some instructions to his team. 12-9 is the score. Here come the Statesmen in the middle. Oh, nice play!
Dundalk may need a timeout here just to settle things down.
And the game the line is number 24, Justin Reed. Taylor on 61.
Chance to make this a three-point play the old-fashioned way. And he does. A good play by the Statesman, Stanley Taylor, to absorb that contact, get up in the air, and bury it for two. Dribble handoff to Mosley. Mosley now driving. He hands it off to Lamar Mitchell.
Once again, they're back in the outside weave.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Got to get something going. Shot from the baseline. Good. Yeah, it was a contested shot by Lamar Mitchell, but somehow he was able to bury it. And a good trap by the Lions. Almost forced a turnover there. Just over 10 minutes left to play in this first half. The score is 15-12 in favor of the Statesmen. Three-pointer, no good. Awfully close to getting an air ball on that three.
Neither coach looks happy right now.
No, they do not. And head coach Jerron Taylor for the Lions is barking out some serious orders to his team. Can't blame him with not being happy. Last couple offensive possessions for the Lions haven't been good ones.
And there again, they got the ball inside for an easy basket.
It's funny how much easier those shots are to make when you're closer to the basket. Nice move there by Justin Reed to get himself into a scoring position and be able to put that up and under for 2 points. A little parent-teacher conference between the Statesman's player and the Lions player as we had some pushing and shoving away from the ball.
And it's good that the referee got right on that and immediately took care of it. Because if you don't do that, it can sometimes get out of hand very quickly.
Oh, that was a great defensive play there. That saved 2 points as Fitzgerald was coming in for the layup. I don't know if there's a prettier play in basketball than the charge. This thing's starting to get a little chippy.
Well, I think from the opening tap, it's been a very sloppy game, and that probably is indicative of what goes on in the early games of the season, but neither team has gotten into any kind of rhythm on offense. Dundalk has done much better when they've gotten the ball inside, but then the last couple possessions, they've been back to the passing the ball around the perimeter, kind of the old Boston Celtics weave that we used to see. But neither coach, as I said a couple minutes ago, looks very happy because both teams look very sloppy at this point.
Yeah, I'd say it's been a back and forth momentum kind of game, but it doesn't really seem like either team has even gained any momentum here in this contest. It's just been a contest of random shot making, really. Here come the Statesmen. The press is on for the Lions, staple of head coach Jerron Taylor's game. He likes to run the press pretty much from start to finish in a game. Statesman spin move in the lane, can't finish, but they get a pass off, and that will be a travel call.
Good defense by Fitzgerald, clogging the lane.
Yeah, Fitzgerald stands at 6'7", so it's easy for him to clog the lane with all that body. That was a nice move by him, like you said. Just over 12 minutes left here in the first half. Dribble handoff. once again. And now into the middle. Across, down low. Oh, welcome to the block party, young man. Christopher Fitzgerald had his shot blocked away, but a steal in transition.
Good defense by Mosley getting back. Devin Mosley stopped that fast break by getting back on defense.
A nice steal in transition by Mosley. Now Mosley, three-pointer, no good, airballed it. Doesn't get back in transition fast enough this time, or does he? He's going to be thinking about that one later this game, I'm sure. That was a bad turnover by both teams there. The sloppy offensive play continues. Oh, my goodness.
Trey Patterson with a great block.
Trey Patterson just sent an invitation to the block party. I wonder if Lamar Mitchell's going to RSVP on that one. I wouldn't. 11 minutes left here in this first half, and man, that is the kind of block from the Statesmen that can get momentum rolling back on your side. Mitchell for three, deep three, and he airballs it. Harvey Page picks up the rebound and puts it in for two.
That was either a terrible shot or a great pass.
Well, don't ask him because he's going to tell you it was a pass.
I'm sure he would.
And a very, very bad travel there by the Statesmen. Ryan Jones, he had some good defense being played on him, but not good enough that he should have traveled there. Lions will take possession back up by one, 16-15, just over 10 minutes left here in the contest. Or in the first half, excuse me. Oh my goodness, Mama, there goes that man. Keyshawn Henry with the step back and then the jumper for two. Man, that was nice. Wheels are starting to look like they're coming off the bus for the Statesmen in the early part of this game.
It's interesting, that last shot I don't think was a great shot selection, but it's one of those shots that the coach says, oh, no, 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 great shot.
Keyshawn Henry, spin, lost control of the ball and ends up turning it over. Here come the Statesmen. That's not a bad foul in transition, because if you don't make that foul, the Statesmen probably have a easy layup at the basket. You'd rather not see Keyshawn Henry turn the ball over, but if you're going to see a transition opportunity, you want to get out in front of it while you can. A little conference call between the referees here, trying to figure something out. Finally, we will resume play here. Three-pointer, no good, but rebounded by the Statesmen. Good offensive rebound there, and it leads to the 2 points on a nice shot by Rob Smith. Back to a 1 point game. 18-17 with just over 9 minutes left in the first half.
Tried to force that pass.
I was going to say, Harvey Page didn't look like he had the best post position there. And the Statesmen doing a good job of pushing the issue and trying to get that ball down low into a good scoring position. Didn't lead to 2 points on the shot, but it could lead to 2 points with foul shots.
for the Lions, 23, Nicholas Parrish.
Parrish back in for Dundalk.
Parrish didn't have any scoring to go to his name in that early part of the first half, but he did make some plays. And a nice play in transition to bury that. That could have easily been blocked. Good defense here by the Lions, forcing the ball to go from side to side for the Statesmen. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Got to get something going here. They take the pick.
Statesmen look very not moving a lot.
And even though that led to a basket, good closeout defense there by the Lions to force that shot to be a little bit more difficult than it originally would have been. Here comes Parrish going right at his defender, hands off to Mitchell. Mitchell, the floater in the lane, and one! Oh my! Lamar Mitchell, rumble, young man, rumble. That was a nice move by the freshman, or excuse me, the sophomore, getting into the lane, absorbing the contact, and burying the shot. Lamar Mitchell gets 3 points the hard way. He certainly earned that seat on the bench after that play.
4-point lead for Dundalk.
Lamar Mitchell was a nice spark plug coming off the bench for the Lions. Lions offense was a little stagnant before him coming into the game. Three-pointer, Statesman, good, wide open. Bangs that home for three. The ball got tied up. That's why there was no travel call, or excuse me, that's why there was no up and down call. McNair had the ball tied up as he went up, and he came back down with it, tried to put a shot up, and was fouled. That's why he's going to the line. McNair misses the first, has a chance to make it a one-possession game, though, with a second foul shot here.
Missed opportunity.
I'm sure he'll be hearing an earful from his head coach after missing both foul shots there. Statesman into the lead, or excuse me, into the painted area, and that floater puts them in the lead. 24-23. Statesmen, 7 minutes and 45 seconds left in the first half. Parrish working real hard, trying to get something going for his offense. And the foul was committed on Parrish, so he will be going to the line for the 1-and-1. So it's foul shots from here on out for the Lions.
For those of you who may be unfamiliar, when you get to your seventh foul, it's a 1-and-1 situation. Make the first, shoot the second. When you get to 10 fouls, it's a two-shot situation. And we're back to the wardrobe check. Tucking in the jersey.
I'm a big believer of if they enforce that rule in the NBA, then it would go everywhere else.
We had one night where one of the referees should have been charged with it himself, which is really funny.
Here come the Statesmen after watching their lead disappear on the two foul shots from the Lions. Here's Mio.
Got away with a walk.
Stolen in transition. Here's Parrish. Doesn't have numbers and doesn't have space either, but he does have an opportunity at 2 points from the line. That was an interesting steal in transition from the Lions. The ball seemed to be rolling around on the ground a little longer than they'd like it to be, but they still got a chance at points. trying to make their 1-point lead a little bit bigger here. Parrish, good arc on that foul shot. Nothing but net there. One for 2 from the line that time. So instead of it being a 3-point game, it'll remain a 2-point game. Jumper. Oh, doesn't get the friendly roll, but they do get the friendly rebound.
Got to block out.
Stanley Taylor is working overtime here in this game. 3-pointer, no good. Nothing but net, but it's got to go through the rim first. Taylor for 3 in transition. That was a heat check move from Taylor. Now that shot, on the other hand, that's a good one. Just missing off the end of the iron. Same spot. Nope, he'll drive baseline this time. Have it stolen away from him, but he gets it back and is fouled the second time around. 26-26 is the score. Statesmen have a chance to take the lead here. And do.
And then we go to the line from 23, Harvey Page, number 24, Justin Reed.
Harvey Page coming back into the game for the night, or excuse me, the Lions. And 1 for 2 from the line that time. Both teams struggling to make good on all their foul shots here this afternoon. Fitzgerald set the pick, but it didn't lead to anything but a dunk in transition. Two-handed slam in transition by Kenny Sutherland.
Entering the station number 3, Trey Patterson. Also entering the station number 1, Ronnie Wilson. Nicholas Parrish, 1-1.
Here comes Parrish, another chance at the line for him. Cut into this lead, make it a 2-point lead if he can. He'll get another chance here. Lions are 1 foul away from being in the double bonus. Good trip to the line that time from Parrish. Makes the 3-point lead go down to a 1-point lead as he makes both of his foul shots. Nice move. Trying to get himself some opening. And man, that was a great block by Harvey Page. Harvey Page with a really good block, but they couldn't get the rebound, which led to the Statesmen getting the offensive glass and putting it in for 2. Muhammad behind the back dribble. Losing the ball for a moment before he got it back. Shot, Muhammad, baseline, no good. Rebounded by Bio. Statesmen on the move. Mio for 3, no good off the iron, but rebounded by the Statesmen once again, Stanley Taylor.
Dundalk needs to do a better job of blocking out. Nice move, but a travel on it.
Statesmen really bailed the Lions out on that possession. That most certainly should have been 2 points, but they commit the turnover on the travel. And with just over 5 minutes left in the first half, it's 31-28 in favor of the Statesmen. Still plenty of time for the Knights to get back into the lead, though.
Dundalk standing still.
Not a lot of movement away from the ball. Head coach Jerron Taylor sure not happy about that, because I can't imagine that's the offensive game plan.
And it leads to a turnover.
Oh, that is a picture-perfect offensive rebound.
And once again, no block out.
By Stanley Taylor. The Lions have no answer for him. 6'7" freshman Stanley Taylor, or excuse me, the 6'7" sophomore is carving up the Lions here. Fitzgerald coming out of the game. Probably caught or some blood on the jersey or something. Sure, he'll be right back in. Mosley comes in for him. Mosley drives baseline, goes back out to Lamar Mitchell. Mitchell, dribble handoff to Mosley. Mosley, he wanted to hand it off, but couldn't. Decided to go with the Page down to Harvey Page instead. Good offensive possession, ends empty-handed for the Lions. That was good defense there from the from the Lions, but better offense from the Statesmen. Muhammad saw the ball go out in front of him before he wanted it to. Turnover by the Lions. Here come the Statesmen once again. Three-pointer, good! And a timeout from head coach Jerron Taylor for a little break in the action. A full timeout finally will be taken. Head coach Jerron Taylor not happy with what he's seen from his team, both offensively and defensively on the last couple possessions.
Yeah, this was a very competitive game just a few minutes ago, and all of a sudden we're up to a 10-point lead for Richard Bland. A lot of it's been done with great perimeter shooting. Once again, Dundalk looks very stagnant on offense. They don't seem to be doing a whole lot of moving. When they have gotten the ball inside, they've been pretty effective with it. As you said, one of the possessions, it was a nice possession, and the shot just didn't go down from Harvey Page. But they've got to move the ball in and out, and they've got to do more than just pass it around the perimeter. They've got to try and do a better job of getting the ball inside and getting easy shot opportunities.
The dribble handoff has kind of been the staple for this Lions offense in the early part of this game. Doesn't seem to be leading to much, though, because it's just leading to outside shots that they're not converting.
And see, the difference is that Richard Bland has been taking outside shots, but they've usually been in transition or been in a situation where they're getting an open look at the basket. And that makes a whole lot of difference in terms of what you see.
I think you hit the nail right on the head there, especially when saying in transition. I think it's a lot easier to see some of those difficult three-pointers go down when you've seen some of your more easy shots go down. You start getting some baskets in transition, it gets the offensive juices flowing, and you start to feel good. 3 minutes and 30 seconds is all that separates these two teams from the halftime whistle. A halftime whistle that is desperately needed for the Lions. Foul on Sutherland. We'll send Harvey Page to the line.
Shoots two in the double bonus.
Page, no good there. That hit every part of the rim but the bottom. The kids at home, that one right there is a prime example of why you want to get arc and lots of spin on those foul shots.
But some days it just won't go down.
Oh, doesn't get the friendly roll off the iron that time. 0 for 2 from the line, Harvey Page. Made up for it with a good block on the other side. Good defensive play, but he got out rebounded. Finally comes down with it, and that's a jump ball. And Harvey Page didn't get the rebound 2 separate times there, but you can't really blame him on either one.
We don't have
the right position.
We don't have the stats in front of us, but it's pretty obvious that Dundalk is being seriously out-rebounded in this first half.
Yeah, and that play right there was a prime example of it. Harvey Page, the only one in the painted area trying to get that rebound. Lamar Mitchell into the paint, puts it in, floater is no good.
And once again, one shot, and Richard Bland has the ball.
That is definitely a contributing factor to why Richard Bland has a 10-point lead right now. Lions couldn't get the rebound that time either, but luckily for them, that ball safely rolled out of bounds.
What Dundalk needs to do here is make at least a mini run so that the score at the half is in single digits. And especially to make sure that they don't let this game get away and get into a 15 or 16-point game at the half.
Here come the Statesmen in transition into the painted area, in for 2. The bank was open for 2 points that time. And head coach Chuck Moore for the Statesmen doing his best job of trying to plead with the referee to get a charge call for his team that time, but the man in the zebra stripes saw it the other way around, sending the Lions to the line for some foul shots. Man, the Lions had a chance to make this back to a 10-point game, but now their best hope is to make it an 11-point game, missing foul shots.
And both teams have done that in the first half.
Oh for 2 from the line now. Back-to-back trips for the Lions to the foul line have come up empty.
And I've got at least 3 situations where Dundalk's gone 0 for 2 from the line.
And a travel call there. The eyes were a little bit too big. He saw that opening into the painted area and shuffled the feet before he put the ball down on the ground. Minute and 45 seconds left in the first half. 40-28 is the score. And I would pay to be a fly on the wall in that Lions locker room at halftime. Head coach Sharon Taylor is going to have some interesting words for his team.
I think I'll avoid being in that conversation. I imagine there'll be a little less paint on the wall.
Here come the Statesmen after the turnover once again by the Lions.
I mean, he just can't be happy with some of the things that we've seen here in the first half. And there's another easy rebound.
That's a prime example of one of the things that you can't be happy with there. Like you said, we don't have the stats in front of us, but the rebounding advantage is very obviously going to the side of the Statesmen.
I think the lack of rebounding, particularly on the defensive end, I think the sloppy play on offense, and I think the lack of getting the ball inside are the 3 things that are plaguing Dundalk here in the first half.
1 for 2 from the line, doesn't get the friendly roll. The Statesman, number 4, Rob Smith. Lamar Mitchell into the painted area, spins, hangs up in the air, doesn't get the call or the basket, but Harvey Page will get the call as he commits the foul.
And that was an extremely difficult shot he took. Extremely difficult.
I'm sure Lamar Mitchell was hanging up in the air believing that he was going to get a foul call or something, because like you said, that is a very, very difficult shot that even the best rarely make.
But again, Dundalk has not really gotten any real good quality shots through most of the first half.
Harvey Page with the rebound after the missed foul shot. 41-28 is the score in favor of the Statesmen. Under a minute to play here in the first half. Started off as a very competitive first half, but the later stages of it have been all Statesmen. Jumper, no good, off the front of the iron, rebounded by the team in the green jerseys.
Again, a very poor shot selection. They simply moved the ball around the perimeter. Never really got into a situation where they could get a quality shot.
Interesting, the last couple minutes you've seen head coach Jerron Taylor work away from his patented press. And the offensive rebounding continue to kill the Lions here. This is the quietest the Lions' den has been all afternoon. Gotta get a shot off. And that's a microcosm for that first half if I ever saw one.
And again, we talked at the very beginning about the freshman, and that's a freshman kind of mistake.
Yeah.
You can't be down in the final few seconds and not know how much time is left on the clock. That just simply is not acceptable. You've got to know how much time is left on the clock, and you can't be pulling out towards center court with 3 seconds left on the clock. So obviously a lot of things that Dundalk needs to work on as we go into the halftime situation. They've got to do a better job on the defensive end, particularly on the boards. They've got to be much more efficient on offense. And frankly, they got to make free throws. And they missed an awful lot of free throws in the first half.
That is all she wrote for the first half. We'll have a quick little break in between the first and second half. The score at the end of one, 43-28 in favor of the back after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lions Den for second half action. The first half, let's say it started off really good for the Lions, didn't end very well.
The Lions had lots of opportunities early, and if you look at the stat sheet, what you see for the Lions is a lot of missed free throws. What's not on our stat sheet, at least, is the fact that the Lions were beaten badly on the boards, and that makes a big difference. So in the second half, I think what the Lions need to do is, number one, be more efficient on offense, particularly getting the ball inside. Number two, do a much better job, particularly on the defensive end. And with that, an easy basket by Rob Smith, and then a steal.
Now, I'm sure if you ask head coach Jaron Taylor, that was the worst way to start the second half, he would probably tell you an alley-oop play that sucks all the momentum out of the game, and that's exactly what happened.
He needs a timeout. Jaron definitely needs a timeout here.
Ricky Hicks there missed the layup, and if I was his head coach, Chuck Moore, I would be pretty upset with him. He's trying to be a little fancy and go for the finger roll instead of getting the easy 2 points.
I wasn't sure whether it was that or he was trying to pass for the spectacular dunk, was what it looked like to me. Either way, it didn't look good.
Yeah, either way, it didn't count for any points, and it didn't count for any style points either. And a timeout is finally taken. What do you say to your team if you're Coach Jaron Taylor? I'm sure you had a good halftime speech and you thought it was going to work, but after seeing that, you've got to be having some second guesses.
Well, I think what he needs to do here is more than anything else is just settle down. I mean, the problem is that it's already become a 21-point game in just the first minute of the second half. And the problem is what they need to do now is to get back into cutting this lead down, because otherwise, if it gets any worse than this, it's going to be a total blowout.
The way the Lions offense looked in the first half, we knew it was going to be difficult for them to climb out of the hole that they came into the second half with. And now, like you said, the hole is even bigger, so it's going to be even more difficult. Oh, stolen away. Nice move there by Trey Patterson. Did his best Ed Reed impression to intercept that away. Here come the Statesmen once again on the offensive attack. Stanley Taylor takes the inbounds play for the Statesmen. He's one of the Statesmen who had his fingerprints all over the first half. Three-pointer in the corner from Tim Bing is good. Tim Bing banged that trifecta home, stolen away. I'm a big believer that body language says it all in sports. And I got to say, the body language for the Lions does not look good.
And Page getting in foul trouble.
Which is not a good sign for the Lions, as he's the only person who's been able to get any kind of rebounds in this game, which isn't saying much, as he hasn't gotten many. That is a beautiful turnaround jumper from Rob Smith.
And I've got him with 17 points, including 13 in the first half.
Rob Smith has been leading the way offensively for the Statesmen. Almost stolen away. And a shot, no good. Two shots that time from Parrish, neither one of them good. Up and under for 2. Nice move by Ricky Hicks there. And a turnover once again. 56-28 is the score.
And
Wheels looking like they're falling off the bus.
And a 13-0 run to start the second half.
Working it around, Hicks down low, up and under, can't do it that time. You go for that up and under layup, try to use the rim as protection from getting your shot blocked. A good idea that time from Rob Smith. He just couldn't finish it.
I think the situation here is the first thing Dundalk's got to do is stop the bleeding, which means they need a basket.
Harvey Page couldn't finish it, but possession will remain with the Lions, and frustration starting to sit in here at the Lions Den, not only just with the Lions players and coaches, but also with the fans here in attendance.
Yeah, we had one of the fans who was talking about stop running the same play. Again, the problem is that if you consistently are passing the ball around the perimeter, not getting it inside, or at least moving it inside to get it back outside for a decent shot, then you're just simply not going to be able to get good quality shots at the basket.
The defensive effort for the Statesmen continues to be stellar. Tim Bing there almost had a steal on the inbounds play.
And once again, another sloppy play.
Ricky Hicks in transition for 2 points. And a block there by Rob Smith. What can this gentleman not do? It's a Swiss Army knife for this Statesman team here this afternoon, and a beautiful pass there by Ricky Hicks down low.
$17-0 run.
Down low, Harvey Page finally gets the first points of the second half for the Lions. It's a 30-point game, though. That's a sign of a good coach there, Chuck Moore. Even though his team's up by 30, he calls the timeout because he saw something on the defensive side that he was not happy with.
I think one of the things you have to recognize about coaching at this level is that you're dealing with 17, 18, 19-year-olds who are still learning the game of basketball. And sometimes, as you said, the coach just simply needs to take a timeout for what we call a teaching moment. And I think that's I agree with you that that's a good timeout, because it means that he saw something he didn't like. And he immediately called a timeout to try and fix the problem.
And as odd as it sounds, you know, when a team is going on a run like they are right now and they have a lead like they do, usually some complacency sticks in, and it becomes easier for that team to make mistakes, and a timeout like that can put a stop to that. 3 ball, just a little wide. Down low, risky pass, and a shot clock violation.
Good defense by Dundalk on that trip.
By far their best defensive effort of the second half. String together some more of those and start making some shots. They can cut into this lead. Keyshawn Henry to Harvey Page. Page driving up, no good, but he gets the rebound and puts it in. Harvey Page proving he can put the ball down on the ground as well. That was a nice move by the big. Harvey Page got himself into a position where he wanted to take the charge, but realized that wasn't going to happen.
That's his fourth foul.
That's his fourth.
It's not good if you're a Lions player, coach, or fan.
On that last sequence, although it was certainly a nice move by Page, and particularly a nice move to get the rebound back in. I don't really think that you want your big guy out 15, 17, 18 feet from the basket and driving. I think you'd rather have him inside.
I think in any other day you'd be right, but at this point down 30, I think Jerron Taylor will take the points any way he can get them.
I agree with you on that.
Mar Mitchell, three, no good. Just missed that one. Harvey Page working hard to get the rebound, but couldn't get it. Hicks faked the three, wants to go down low instead, does. There's Biggs, but gets it, or Bing, excuse me. He had that one blocked away from him. (62-32) will remain the score. Statesmen will have the ball with a fresh shot clock. Up top, here's Mio. Over to Hicks. Hicks now driving baseline, step back, spin. Lost control of the ball and ends up being a turnover. Bad turnover there by the Statesmen, but when you're up by 30 points, you can afford to have a couple of turnovers. Keyshawn Henry wants to go right at his defender. Good defense, now going baseline, step back. Good closeout defense. McNair back to Henry. Henry behind the back. He's trapped. 10 seconds on the shot clock. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Page sets the pick, and that will be a turnover. Shot clock violation by the Lions. Big reason for that is great defense by the Statesmen on that offensive possession. Under 15 minutes left to play. Score remains 62-32. Statesman, dribble handoff. Down low, working hard. The hook shot, no good. Offensive rebound for the Statesmen, though. Fresh shot clock as that ball hit the rim. In and out, no good. Finally rebounded by the Lions. So 2 offensive possessions there for the Statesmen, but no points to show for them. McNair to Page, and Page had the position, but the pass wasn't good.
And I think your point a few minutes ago about the fact that when you get up by 30 points, you get a little complacent. I think they're also getting a little bit sloppy, and Dundalk being equally sloppy. So we're a couple minutes without any points at all, because neither team is generating any kind of a consistent offense.
Offensive foul. I know I'm probably alone on my thinking of this, but I don't know if there's any more pretty play than the charge.
It's a real skill. It is a real skill to be able to do it. Because not only is it a matter that you have to have the skill to be in the right position, but you have to be willing to take the hit.
Stole those words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, you got to have the skill and also the guts as well, because you know you're going to take a shot, like you said.
Four points for the Lions in 7 minutes.
That's something the coaching staff for the Lions is going to be happy about. It'll be an interesting couple days of practice after this. Floater in the lane off the front of the iron, rebounded by the Lions, so they'll still have possession here and a fresh shot clock. Lamar Mitchell. Dribble handoff into the painted area, up and no good, but offensive rebound by the Lions once again. But this time it's a jump ball, and the possession arrow is going in favor of the Statesmen. Or actually, possession arrow is going in favor of the Lions.
Once again, a very poor quality shot.
That is now back-to-back possessions for the Lions, ending in an offensive foul. Something you don't like to see at any level is a player hitting the ground hard and coming back up holding their head. That's never a sight you want to see. Especially a player like Stanley Taylor, who's such a huge part for this Statesman player.
And I think a very smart move to pull him out. Let him get himself settled. And in fact, trainer's going to look at him because he appears to be in some pain.
Yeah, can't blame him if we don't see him again, especially with the game being the way it is right now. Sims shot, or Smith, excuse me. Smith with shot, no good. Rebounded by the Statesmen initially, but now we got a scrum for the ball. Lions will keep possession there after the scrum.
I think the Lions called timeout in the middle of that as soon as they got possession of the ball.
A smart move by them. Try and pass out of a situation like that. You're probably going to get a tie up and a jump ball.
Well, the problem is when you're down on the floor that way, probably the only way you can really pass it is to roll it to somebody. And that, of course, is a very dangerous way to do it. So the idea is if you have timeouts left and you gain possession, then you take your timeout in order to maintain possession of the ball. Once again, the Lions with only 2 Harvey Page baskets in almost 8 minutes. And Richard Bland with a 17-0 run to start this second half, which, unless the Lions make a strong comeback, is going to prove fatal in this evening's game.
Interesting turn of events here in the later stages of the first half into the second half. The Lions were really in this game at one point in the first half, and now it's not looking pretty.
In fact, the Lions had the lead a significant portion of the first half.
Finally, somebody not named Harvey Page has gotten some points here in the second half for the Lions. Just over 11 minutes left to play, and the score now is 62-34. And a travel call. The Statesmen have had lots of travel calls for a team up by 28 points.
It's interesting to note that probably, I don't know whether it's half of the calls that we get for traveling, but certainly a significant portion of them, or when somebody is coming from a stop position and to start that first move, that's where you get a lot of the traveling calls as you did on that last play.
And that, I think, is a direct example of young players. Yep. And there, Fitzgerald with a nice move on the offensive glass to tip that one in. Back-to-back possessions for the Lions ending in points. I believe that's the first time they've done that in the second half.
And they need to keep this run moving. They've cut it to 16.
I believe he was out of bounds when he caught that. Just over 10 minutes left. That's a good shot there by Nicholas Parrish. He just couldn't finish it. Now here comes the Statesmen in transition. No good on the layup. And now here come the Lions in transition. Lamar Lamar Mitchell, oh my goodness. Nice move by him, the Euro step to get around the defender. Put it in for 2 points.
And all of a sudden, it's back down to 14. Back down to 24.
That was a grown man offensive rebound there. He climbed there up amongst the trees, took on some physical contact, I should say, and almost was able to bury it for an opportunity at the three-point play. 62-38 is the score. First one from the line was good. Let's see what they have on the second. 2 for 2. Want to hold on to a lead. Get those free points. Dribble handoff to Jackson. Or, excuse me, Lamar Mitchell. Nice play there. And a good finish by Keyshawn Henry. Nicholas Parrish. A good pass over to Henry. And a foul committed on the Lions, by the Lions. 9 minutes and 45 seconds is all that separates these two teams from the end of this game. This has been a dominant second half performance from the Statesmen, getting out to a 17-0 run in the start of the second half.
You know, it's interesting. You were very prophetic when you said something about the first 4 points of the second half and how much that led to the 17-0 run.
Keyshawn Henry into the lane, couldn't finish that time. Here come the Statesmen, thought about the jumper. They decide to go into the lane instead. Tim Bing, and that's a foul. A nice display of sportsmanship from Tim Bing as he helps Keyshawn Henry up. I'm sure he didn't mean to send him for a ride like that, but I'm sure he also didn't want to give him the free 2 points. Lions now 1 foul away from being in the bonus, which is definitely good. That'll help their chances of getting back into this game. Three-pointer from Fitzgerald. He banks it in. I don't think he called for glass on that one, but it didn't matter. Down low, great passing, almost leading to 2 points. Offensive rebound for the Statesmen. And possession will remain with them. And head coach Teron Taylor for the Knights is going, or excuse me, the Lions is going to take a timeout. 66-43, just under 9 minutes left here in this contest. Be interesting to see what the game plan is for these two teams coming out of the timeout. Take a quick break. Be back after the timeout. All right, we are back here, ready for the final 8 minutes and change of this contest. It's been a dominating second half performance from the Statesmen. Has led them to their big 66-43 lead right now. Cross the court, corner three, no good. Rebound by Taylor and the Statesmen. Interesting to see Stanley Taylor back into the game. We didn't think we'd see him. That basket won't count. Hits the line up above the backboard. That's an automatic out-of-bounds play. And Devin Mosley seeing his first action of the second half.
Right now, Dundalk's got to get this game down to 10 to 15 points with 5 minutes left. So they really need to make a run right now.
Mosley, a player for the Lions who can hit some shots, so hopefully he can do that and cut into the lead, like you said. Shot that time, no good for the Lions. Statesmen up and under, no good. And a rebound for the Lions. Up to Mitchell. Mitchell over, that's good. And one opportunity. Nicholas Parrish with a nice move there. Taking the pass from Mitchell, getting into a painted area and putting it into the back, into the bottom of the net. Shot is good. Gets the friendly roll that time. Makes it 20-point game. 46-56. Or excuse me, 46-66. And a big dunk. Rob Smith caught the pass and buried it on the big dunk. 7 minutes and some change is left in this one. Knights have cut into the lead a little bit. Still got some hope. We'll take a quick timeout with the teams. We'll be back after this short break. All right, we are back and ready to play the final 7 minutes and change of this game. 68-46 is the score in favor of the Statesmen. Dribble handoff to Mitchell. Fitzgerald over to Mosley. Mosley has it taken away from him for a moment. Now going right at the defender. Mitchell. Baseline three. Oh, in and out, but Fitzgerald gets the rebound and puts it in for two. 20-point game.
Christopher Fitzgerald not happy about that last call.
Some jawing back and forth. And he's possibly going to get a technical for it, these two players.
We talked about teaching moments in the first half. I think this is a teaching moment from the referees.
Yes, it is. That's a very, very good. Honestly, before you even said that, I was just thinking, we already discussed this. Stanley Taylor. He may not have as many points as his friend Rob Smith, but he certainly has had his fingerprints all over this game. Not as much in the second half as he did in the first half, but he's been a big reason why the Statesmen look like they're going to be pulling out a big W here this afternoon.
They have more than 30 points between them.
Combining for 30 points between two players at this level is pretty impressive. Bad play in transition from the Statesmen, and Trey Patterson taking the blame for that one. He knew that one was on him.
Right now, Dundalk just trading baskets, which when you're down this far just doesn't work.
Yeah, you need some defensive stops, and you really need baskets every time down the floor offensively. That time, Fitzgerald opened three from the corner, couldn't finish it. But a good defensive play by the Lions will get them the ball back without any damage. Parrish taking the pick from Fitzgerald over to Mitchell. Mitchell drives baseline across corner three, no good. Rebound by the Statesmen.
And once again, just one shot.
Devin Mosley welcomes into the block party, but his invitation was sent a little bit too rough. Back-to-back possessions for the Lions, ending in open corner threes that couldn't be hit. And like you said, it's been that way all game long for the Lions. One shot, and you're done. Now, if you're making your shots, that counts and works in your favor. But if you're not, it's a hard way to win a game.
And Trotman with 2 free throws. And again, free throws more successful for Richard Bland than for Dundalk today.
The Statesmen were struggling just like the Lions from the foul line in the first half. The Statesmen turned it around here in the second half. The Lions, well, they haven't had many opportunities at the line, so we don't know.
Unofficially, Richard Bland's hit all their free throws in the second half.
Good halftime speech from head coach Chuck Moore then, I'm sure. Fitzgerald wanted to go off the dribble, decided to pass it off instead. They work it over to Fitzgerald in the lane that time, 2 points.
And once again, as we've discussed earlier in the game, you really want Fitzgerald inside, not outside 15, 20 feet from the basket.
Fitzgerald, a player who can hit the outside shot, but that's certainly not his bread and butter. Like you said, they want him down low. Stanley Taylor misses the first, got his own rebound, and a turnover by the Lions leads to another 2 points for Stanley Taylor and the Statesmen. 5 minutes is all that's separating the Lions from stopping the bleeding. I think any comeback hopes have been dashed, and now it's more about pride. Foul as he was going up for the shot. That will send the Lions to the foul line. Harvey Page about to check back into the game for the Lions. I'm sure he'll be coming in for Fitzgerald.
We talked about the 5-minute mark. And they ended up being down by 26, so they made no real progress towards getting it down to 10 to 15 points.
Looked like for a moment that the Lions are going to be able to kind of at least crawl their way back into this one, but now it's Looking like the blowout has
and that doesn't help.
Rob Smith continues a afternoon of basketball that he'll be telling his kids and grandkids about later. He continues to knock down big shots.
22 unofficially.
Harvey Page worked overtime to get that scoring position, or scoring opportunity, I should have said. Page took a hard shot, and he'll go to the line. Try and earn his 2 points the hard way. 4 minutes and 20 seconds is all that separates these two teams from the end whistle. 77-50 is the score in favor of the Statesmen. Harvey Page. First is no good. A little bit too strong off the end of the iron. So many travel calls here in this game. Most of them have gone against the Statesmen. And like you pointed out earlier in the game, they usually all come from a standstill position. Mosley trying to get an and one there as he was working extra hard to get a scoring opportunity. He was fouled. He'll go to the line, but and one opportunity, not going to happen.
And foul shooting again, the Achilles heel, or one of the Achilles heels.
Mosley, second is good. 1 for 2 from the line that time. 52-77 will be the score now. Corner three, not going to take it. Instead, they're going to work into the paint. Is that another travel?
3 seconds.
Violation. I was going to say, man, head coach Chuck Moore is going to have, even though his team is going to win this game big, all these travel calls, he's going to have something to say to his team.
And we can't hear exactly what he's saying because he's across the floor, but he's still teaching.
I'm sure the teachable moments never stop for him. Look at the ball. Lamar Mitchell, handoff. Shot. Oh, that's good. Nice shot by Lamar Estep. Or E-Step, excuse me. Mosley trying to trap, doesn't. Now across over to Patterson. Cross court over to Smith. That's why those cross court passes are so dangerous.
Like you said earlier, it's now down to a matter of pride. So let's see how much pride Dundalk has in the last 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Lamar Mitchell tripped up as he's driving to the lane. And both teams are in the bonus, so Lamar will be headed to the line for the 1-and-1. It's been a difficult afternoon here for the Lions. Hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come for their season, as they had a difficult afternoon last night as well. And I was hearing from some people who were in attendance for that game that the problems that the Lions had last night were pretty much exactly like the problems they're having tonight. The lack of ability to get the rebounds.
Foul number 2, is third.
I think I speak for everybody in attendance here when I say I hope this thing doesn't turn into a foul contest in the last 3 minutes.
The one consolation is that, as the old expression goes, you're never as good as you look when you win, and you're never as bad as you look when you lose. So certainly Dundalk has a lot of opportunity to correct some of the problems that they have. But we were talking at halftime about rebounding, and it's a question, of what makes good rebounding. And, you can sit and talk about the fact that a team may be slightly undersized, but rebounding is generally a matter of wanna. And that means you've got to want to have the rebound. And you got to do a good job boxing out. And you've got to do a good job of wanting the basketball. And frankly, as Paige comes in, frankly, Richard Bland has had a lot of easy rebounds. And they've had a lot of rebounds where they're all by themselves and get the rebounds.
Nice block from behind there from Lamar Mitchell. And to piggyback on what you were saying there, anytime somebody tells you that you need to be tall to be a good rebounder, just politely remind them that Charles Barkley led the NBA in rebounding at 6'9".
The great Bill Russell once said that 90% of the rebounds come below the rim. So that's what's important to recognize, that it's a matter of boxing out. It's a matter of making sure that you want to get that rebound. But you're right about Barkley.
Missed shot there now with under 2 minutes to play. Christopher Fitzgerald will check back into the game for the Lions. 80-57 is the score.
But I will say one thing about Charles. I think he also got a lot of rebounds because of his, shall we say, wide body.
Yeah, certainly helped that he was, he could throw a bunch of weight into you.
In fact, he was once called the Mound Round of Rebound.
Three-pointer in the corner is good. That is just the kind of game it's been for the Statesmen. You take it, you make it. Talked about teachable moments earlier in this game. Well, this contest here for the Lions, certainly a teachable moment for the entire program. Fitzgerald down low, can't bang it home, has it blocked, but he was fouled in the process. And with under a minute left, 6'7", Christopher Fitzgerald will head to the line.
Christopher Fitzgerald on the line, shooting 2.
You read my mind to give me 2.
Fitzgerald, good on that one. Let's see, second time from the line.
Basketball.
Even though the game is well out of reach, Richard Bland got away with a foul there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I agree with some of our fans here in attendance, as that should have been an over-the-back call. Doesn't make a difference, though, as I'm sure you'd rather have that, or rather have the play that just happened as opposed to that one. Mosley with the chance at the and one. Look of frustration on that young man's face says it all. It's not the way this afternoon he wanted it to go. Play up. 30 seconds left. And a travel call. And the jawing back and forth continues amongst these two teams. 35 seconds is left. Fitzgerald for three, nothing but net, but usually when I say that, it's a good thing. This time, no, not so much. You gotta get it in between the rim for it to be a good thing. Keyshawn Henry steals the inbounds play, but can't finish it. Fitzgerald catches the inbounds. The shot clock has been turned off. The head coach, Teron Taylor, is shaking his head at one of his star players, Devin Mosley.
What you're seeing now is pure frustration. And that's what happens when a game gets to be 22 points with 23 seconds left. You end up with frustration, and then you start getting, as you talked about late in the first half, kind of chippy fouls and get pushing and shoving. And
can't blame Mosley for being frustrated, but got to have cooler heads prevail. And this will probably be the final basket of the game if it goes in. Lions going to be losers here in this one. Deep three is no good. The rebound and the putback will count.
And the basket counts.
Final score here in this one. As you heard from the PA announcer right there, the final score in this one, 85-63. Closing thoughts?
Well, we've had a pretty steady series of things that Dundalk needs to work on. Clearly the rebounding, particularly on the defensive end and boxing out, is critical. I thought the offense was very sloppy. A lot of times they were just standing around while they were moving the ball around the perimeter. They've got to move the ball in and out. And frankly, the third thing is they got to make more free throws. It's a matter of those free throws are what can turn a huge lead into a much smaller lead. So the good news is we're only 2 games into the season. We haven't even started conference play. There's lots of time to fix the problems that are here. But the bad news is that this was a pretty bad loss, particularly with the start of the second half. You're not going to win many games when you end up with a 17-0 run against you to start the second half. So Dundalk's got a lot of things to work on, but they've got a lot of time to do it. So we'll hope that as a result of this game, the freshmen in particular learn something and that they can take it and use it for future games down the road.
Couldn't have said it better any myself. That is the final score here in this one, 85-63 in favor of the Statesmen. I'm Aaron Thomas.
And I'm Richard Keller.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Hope you can join us all season long. There'll be more men's basketball action tomorrow from CCBC Dundalk. Good night.